Hi friends, Mindy here. I have another process video for you. I'm going to be working in my little junk journal. This one is one that I'm just now calling my little purple journal because it kind of has a theme. I didn't intend that when I first started it, but that's just how it has come out. This is a journal that I created literally out of like junk mail and different things. I have a video for that, how I created it down below. I'll link that. And then, so what you see me here doing, I'm just putting down some matte medium, and I have this tissue that I'm going to put down, and you could smooth this out. I actually left a few of the wrinkles because I wanted that extra texture in there, and I'm just going to do a coat over top as well. I've really been enjoying working in my art journals lately, just to spend 10 or 15 minutes creating something, just to kind of get some paint out and just kind of not have any expectations or anything. Art journaling is just something, I think I've mentioned this before, that's just kind of therapeutic for me. So I'm just really enjoying doing that. And I just, the last couple of times I thought I would take you along for the ride. I have a few different journals, art journals that I work in. This is just this little one that I created from like junk mail and stuff. So you saw just here for a second, I was adding some, I think this is cobalt turquoise paint, and I'm adding a little wash of gesso. Now I keep a wash of that in a bottle, just makes things a little bit easier. And I'm just trying to knock back some of the intensity of the colors of the tissue and the cobalt turquoise there. It just really wasn't exactly what I was looking for. It matched, the tissue, but it just it was pretty intense. So I'm just kind of using that gesso to kind of lighten everything up, and then I'm kind of dabbing off a little bit. And then I had this stencil, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Tim Holtz stencil, and it's got roses on it. And so I thought I would try that to kind of mimic the tissue paper. And I'm using some quinacridone magenta, and it's just, I love this color, but it was just really, really intense and not exactly what I was looking for. So you'll see me to the side, I've pulled in some teal, just kind of make a purple color, and that just happened to be sitting on my desk, so I reached for that. And then I will also add in some gesso just to kind of get some variation on the shades of purple that I'm using here. I don't want everything to be kind of samey in this journal, but at the same time, it just is going to be a kind of a themed journal. I've never really done an art journal before that had like a color theme to it, so this one is turning out really interesting, but I'm just kind of rolling with it. So again, you can see I'm just kind of stenciling that in a couple different places. I'm kind of keeping to the edges of the page because I know that the quote part that I want to put is going to be kind of in the middle. And so I'm trying to match that really kind of deep plummy purple. And so I took the quinacridone magenta, and I added some blue to it, and it made a really lovely purple. I added some Lumiere, some like metallic purple, or some metallic blue, excuse me. And it made this really beautiful purple, but I could already tell it was definitely not what I wanted on this page. So I went ahead, instead of wasting the paint that I had just mixed, I went ahead and just turned to an open page and just used my palette knife and pushed it down on there. And then that will give me kind of a starting place for somewhere else to get to down the road. So I'm back with the quinacridone magenta, and I'm going to add a little bit of black. And this is going to get me more toward the color that I want, but the tint is just too dark. And so to kind of fix that, I'm going to add in some of the gesso wash, and that's going to get me really more to the shade of this color that I want. That's more reminiscent of what's actually in like the tissue paper background. So and I didn't mix it thoroughly so that it would have like a little bit of gradation in the color, like just a little bit of variance is just, it's really hard to see, I guess, on camera, or at least on my camera, but it does have like some different aspects to it. And so I'm taking this other stencil from Tim Holtz. This one is, I think it's called Speckles or Speckled, and I'm just using that. And part of art journaling, at least for me, is sometimes I do some things and I really like it, and sometimes I do some things and I really hate it. And this was not something I was particularly fond of. It just wasn't turning out how I wanted. And I think part of it, looking back on it now, is that the background was just really busy already. And so adding in, the roses and then adding in the speckles, it created a really, really busy background. So whenever, like you kind of need to push layers back, I'm just adding another layer, but I'm just going in with black and this stencil. This is another Tim Holtz stencil. This one just has alphabet typography on it. And just going to do this in just a few different places. Sometimes adding in like a black or a white just kind of helps tone everything down. And so I'm just going around, basically again around the edges of this page and just adding a few letters here and there with no rhyme or reason. I'm not trying to spell anything or anything. I just really want to kind of push some of those other layers more toward the background. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that. And again, I'm using a little cheap makeup sponge, just a really cheap one. And right here I have another stencil. This has got some like different colored, just different size dots on it. And I'm using some light and fluffy modeling paste from the Crafters Workshop. And I just wanted to bring some white into this and also some other different kind of texture. And so I just went in a few different places around, again, just kind of keeping to the edges here. And while this was still drying, I took some, this is some Distress Embossing Glaze. This is in the Villainous Potion color. It's a really, really deep purple. And I just added that to the top of the texture paste. And I am going to go ahead and with my heat tool, and I'm going to add, and I'm going to dry this. Now, ordinarily, if you want to do this, you might want to wait for the texture paste to completely dry and then heat emboss it, because it puffs up. That's actually what I was wanting it to do. I wanted a little bit more texture. So if you heat dry it before it's set like texture paste, it will tend to bubble. But you can see here what I've done now is I messed up the page on the back side where I had a quote, and I used a Dymo label maker. I didn't even think about it, and it basically erased all of it because it's embossed, and so it flattened it all out. So I'll have to go back and fix that later, but that was just kind of a funny thing to discover. And then as I was going through here, I just wanted to knock that back just a little bit, the black, because that Villainous Potion is really, really deep purple. And so I'm just kind of going in there with my gesso wash and a little brush and just kind of hitting some of the intensity of the black that I had stenciled, and just kind of brightening up a little bit. I can stay, once I get the white onto where the texture paste and stuff is, but it wipes right off with a wipe. So I'm just really just getting the white on the background. And I'm going to mix up a little bit more of this magenta color because I wanted to do some splatters. So I went in again with the quinacridone magenta and a little bit of black and my fan brush here, but I think I added too much water. So you can see this is just really, really liquidy. So I'm going to try and do some splatters on here, but it really just didn't do what you want it to do when you're doing splatters. So it just kind of looked, I don't know, you couldn't get like the really distinct droplets, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because it was too watered down. So I even tried it on a different page just to kind of see, and it was the same effect. So I added a little bit of that gesso just to kind of give this a little bit more body, and then I was able to get the splatters that I want. I just had a little bit too much water in there. So I'm just adding some little splatters everywhere, and I'm going to take my archival ink in Black Soot and just go around the edges. Again, I'm just trying to bring the focus kind of toward the middle of the page, and so I'm going to add this dark edge all the way around here. I like using the archival ink just and the Black Soot because it's a really deep, nice black. So just applying that with a little sponge. And now I'm going to use my Dymo embossing label maker here again and do my quote. This is part of a scripture in Psalms. And so then while I was doing that, I also did for the backside, so I can fix that for the one that went flat. And then I'm just taking my white, this is a Posca paint pen and just going around each of the sections of this scripture here that I wrote down, and just to kind of help those pop up off the page. And then I'm going to take some white paint and add some white splatters just to, again, add some more white into the background, try to unify everything and lighten everything up. And that is pretty much it for my page. If you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Until next time, bye-bye.